The kiss that woke the lie. When Luke Harrison slipped into a coma after a highway crash, the board of Harrison Industries wasted no time circling like vultures. Within 48 hours, lawyers filled the corridors of St. Mary's Medical Center, arguing over signatures, control, and power of attorney. Luke's father, Richard Harrison, refused to lose control of the empire he'd built from sweat and ruthlessness. If he's declared incapacitated, warned his legal advisor, your shares revert to the trustees. You'll be outvoted. Richard's jaw tightened. Not if my son is married. His holdings would stay within family management. Find me a wife. The room went silent. They all knew what he meant. Not love, leverage. 2 weeks later, they found Grace Miller, a hospital janitor and part-time nursing aide. She was quiet, hard-working, invisible, and broke. Debt notices shadowed every paycheck. Her mother lay in the same hospital's East Wing, awaiting surgery the insurance wouldn't cover. During a lunch break, Samantha Boyd, the family's PR director, slid a manila folder across the break room table. You're in a difficult situation, she began smoothly. We can fix that. Grace blinked. What's this? A simple civil ceremony. You sign, take one photo, and your mother's medical bills are gone. You walk away clean. Grace flipped through the papers. You want me to marry a man who's in a coma? Samantha smiled faintly. Think of it as paperwork. Symbolic. A formality. Grace pushed the folder back. It's wrong. Samantha's eyes chilled. Then your mother's file closes by morning. That night, Grace sat by her mother's hospital bed, listening to the rhythmic hiss of oxygen. Her mother smiled weakly. You look tired, sweetheart. I'm fine. Mom, Grace Lid. You found extra work? Something like that. The next morning, she signed. Saturday came. Luke lay motionless beneath white hospital sheets, machines breathing for him. His handsome face looked carved from marble, untouched by pain. Grace entered wearing a borrowed gray lace dress pinned awkwardly at the waist. She'd never worn anything so elegant or so humiliating. Richard stood near the window, his silver cufflinks flashing. Let's keep this efficient, he said. No teatrics. You're making me kiss your unconscious son, she shot back. You're being compensated, he replied coldly. You mean bought. Watch your language, Miss Miller. This remains confidential. Do your part, and your mother's operation is booked. 4 witnesses entered. 2 lawyers, a PR agent, a photographer. They joked nervously, pretending this was normal. Smile, Mrs. Harrison, one teased. She wanted to slap him. Instead, she stood beside Luke's bed. His hand was cold and limp. A tag by his pillow read, Patient L. Harrison, head trauma, vegetative state. The chaplain recited the vows mechanically. Do you, Grace Miller, take Luke Harrison? She hesitated. Samantha's his cut through the silence. Say it. I do. The chaplain turned toward the motionless man. And do you, Luke Harrison? He does. Richard interrupted sharply. A pen scratched across paper. Cameras flashed. Someone chuckled. Well, that's commitment. Grace's chest ached. She wanted to run, but Samantha's voice stopped her. The kiss. Must I? It's required for the image. Her hand trembled as she leaned down. Up close, Luke looked so human, stubble shadowing his jaw, freckles near his temple, lips slightly parted. You don't know me, she whispered. I don't want your money. I just need my mom to live. Forgive me. Then she kissed him. The room exploded in noise, cameras snapping, a nurse gasping, and suddenly, beep, beep, beep. The heart monitor spiked. Grace jerked back. Doctors rushed in. What happened? Someone shouted. I didn't touch anything. Grace cried. The monitors steadied, but a hum of disbelief filled the room. Richard barked. Not a word of this leaves this floor. Samantha's whisper followed, trembling. If the media hears, they won't. Richard's eyes sliced toward Grace. She remembers her contract. But Grace couldn't forget the brief warmth she'd felt, his faint breath against her lips. For a heartbeat, she was certain he'd kissed her back. For the next week, Grace lived under cameras and scrutiny. Each morning, she was escorted through the back entrance, told to smile, hold Luke's hand, and look devoted. People loved the miracle story, The poor nurse who'd kissed a billionaire awake. Coma wife revives heir, headline screamed. But the truth was uglier. Grace's phone filled with hate. Gold digger. Witch. Parasite. When she walked to the bus stop, strangers yelled, "Hey, Coma Queen, how's your husband?" She kept her head down. Inside the hospital, even nurses whispered, "She's lucky. I'd kiss a corpse for that paycheck." That night, Grace whispered to Luke, "They think I'm disgusting. Maybe they're right. I just wanted my mom to live." His fingers twitched. Barely a flicker, but she saw it. 2 days later, chaos erupted. An intern leaked the marriage contract. Coma wedding, corporate cover-up. Crowds stormed the hospital gates. Reporters camped outside. Richard summoned Grace to his office. "You'll make a statement clearing my name. I won't lie again. You'll say it was mutual. How can a man in a coma consent?" "Because I said he did," he thundered. "You don't care if he wakes up, do you?" she asked quietly. "I care about stability. That's what keeps thousands employed." "You mean power. Call it whatever helps you sleep." "I don't sleep anymore." Security threw her out. Her badge was deactivated. But that night, she returned. Through a side door, she slipped into Luke's darkened room. "They're using both of us," she whispered. "You're their puppet. I'm their excuse." Then she noticed something, a thin, fresh scar near his temple. She read his chart, minor contusion, but the x-ray showed surgical screws added later. Someone had reopened his skull. Her stomach twisted. "Why?" Footsteps echoed. She hid behind the curtain as 2 men entered. "No leaks," one whispered. "The sedative's steady. If he wakes, the contract collapses. Then keep him under." Grace's heart stopped. They weren't healing him. They were keeping him asleep. After they left, she recorded everything. The chart, the scar, the hidden 4-line. "If anyone sees this," she whispered, "tell Luke Harrison they try to keep him asleep." The next morning, she met a reporter and handed over the footage. By nightfall, the video went viral. Heir held an induced coma to protect father's control. Investigators swarmed the hospital. They found extra sedatives supplied by a company owned by Harrison Industries. Nurses confessed. The crash had been linked to a faulty brake system, also manufactured by one of Richard's subsidiaries. The empire Richard built on greed was crumbling. He sat silently as police cuffed him. "I only wanted to protect what I built," he muttered. "You build it on your son's silence," an officer replied. Weeks passed. Luke was weaned off the sedatives. Grace waited outside the ICU every day, not as wife, not as nurse, just as someone who cared. On the 9th night, his fingers moved. Then his eyes opened, confused but alive. "Who are you?" he croaked. "Long story." Grace whispered through tears. "You'll hate it at first." He smiled faintly. "They said you kissed me. I didn't want to. I know. Thank you anyway." When he learned the truth, he asked to see her again. "They say you woke me." "No," she said. "The truth did." Months later, Harrison Industries became a cautionary tale in business schools. Richard served time for fraud and medical tampering. Grace built a quiet life. The hospital created a new position for her, patient liaison, ensuring no family was ever manipulated again. She spent her days guiding others, saying softly, "Always read the fine print." That's where people hide their lies. Her mother recovered fully. Luke, meanwhile, rebuilt himself. He donated what remained of his inheritance to victims of his father's fraud. "My father's name hurt enough people," he said. "Let mine help a few." When he asked to see Grace again, she refused twice. "I don't want the spotlight." "Then let's meet in the dark," he said. They met at a quiet riverside cafe. No cameras, no contracts. "Do you still hate me?" he asked. "I never hated you. Just everything around you. Then maybe start around me again." She laughed. "You're terrible at apologies." "Then I'll keep practicing." One evening, Luke found her in the hospital garden where they'd first met after the trial. "You know what's strange?" he said. "The kiss that ruined us both gave us our lives back." "It ruined the wrong things," she said. "Like what?" "Fear." Silence. He took her hand. "No cameras this time." "Good," she whispered. "This one's ours." Their kiss was simple. No scandal, no stage. Just peace. And as the hospital lights glowed behind them, Grace realized it wasn't a miracle that changed their lives. It was truth. The world called it scandal. But for them, it was a rescue. If you believe truth always wins, share their story.